I never imagined a simple coffee date could turn into such a tangled mess. But here I was, standing outside the cafe, my stomach doing somersaults and my palms clammy enough to soak through my shirt. I had spent hours rehearsing the perfect greeting in my head, going over small talk topics, jokes, even complimenting her outfit without sounding creepy. And now, with her walking toward me, smiling like nothing could go wrong, I felt my entire plan unravel. "Hey," I said, my voice slightly higher than usual, as if it had a mind of its own. She smiled, a warm, easy smile that made my heart skip a beat. "Hi, sorry I'm a bit late," she replied, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. I nodded, trying to look casual, pretending that my nerves weren't making my legs shake like leaves in a storm. We stepped inside the cafe, the aroma of roasted coffee beans filling the air and adding to the awkward tension between us. I tried to focus on the menu, hoping that the act of ordering would distract me from the fact that my brain had completely stopped working. I opened my mouth to ask for a latte, but what came out sounded more like a squeak than a coherent sentence. She giggled, and I immediately wished the floor would swallow me whole. "So, can you come here often?" Kay blurted, feeling like I had fallen back on the oldest, most line in the book. "Kay." She raised an eyebrow, smirked, and replied, "Not really. First time, actually. Perfect. Just perfect." That line, meant to be casual, somehow made me feel like a complete amateur. I smiled nervously, trying to salvage the conversation, but every word I said sounded wrong, like it had been assembled by someone else. We found a small table by the window, the perfect spot to watch people pass by, except that it also felt like a stage under a spotlight. I took a deep breath, hoping that sitting down would calm my nerves. It didn't. I fumbled with the menu, knocking over my water glass slightly, and she laughed softly. Not in a mean way, just a light, amused laugh, and yet it made my cheeks burn redder than I thought possible. "So, what do you do?" I asked, trying to sound casual, as if this simple question wouldn't betray the panic swirling in my chest. She explained her job with a confidence I envied instantly, speaking clearly, smoothly, like she had been born to charm strangers on first dates. I nodded along, contributing small comments, but every time I opened my mouth, I feared I was sounding like a nervous school kid giving a book report. Then, just as I started to think I might survive this ordeal, I tripped over my own words again, trying to tell a story about my weekend. Somehow, I managed to confuse the timeline, mixing up Friday with Saturday, and she paused, tilting her head like she was trying to make sense of the jumbled story. I cursed myself silently, wishing I had just stuck to talking about the weather. Anything less personal, less embarrassing.
Good.
But she smiled again, not judging, just patiently listening.
Okay.
That gave me a little hope, a small spark, that maybe this wouldn't be a total disaster. Halfway through the date, my phone buzzed on the table. I grabbed it reflexively, forgetting for a split second that checking a phone mid-date is a cardinal sin. It was a notification from a friend, but in my panic, I accidentally opened my entire group chat. Oh, God. The screen lit up with dozens of unread messages, all funny, all chaotic, and I had the fleeting, terrible thought that if I read them out loud, it would be even worse. I quickly shoved the phone back in my pocket, hoping she hadn't noticed. She didn't say anything, but the small smirk playing on her lips told me she had. Great. Just great. We moved on to discussing hobbies. I tried to mention my love for hiking, but my example of a recent trail I'd gone on turned into a long-winded story about getting lost for an hour and almost giving up entirely. By the time I finished, she was laughing not at me, thankfully, but at the absurdity of the story. I joined in, relieved, and felt a strange mix of pride and embarrassment. Here I was, completely clumsy, yet somehow she was enjoying my company. Then came the challenge of ordering dessert. I pointed at a slice of cheesecake, only to realize I had no idea how to pronounce half the ingredients. I'll take the thing with the cherries. I stammered, and she chuckled, gently correcting me. The cherry cheesecake, she said, with a teasing smile. I nodded, grateful she hadn't rolled her eyes. We laughed, and for a moment, the anxiety melted away, leaving just two people trying to enjoy an afternoon together. At one point, the conversation lulled. We both stared out the window, sipping our drinks, and I felt the tension creeping back. I tried to initiate small talk, mentioning a funny post I'd seen online, but I accidentally misread the joke entirely, explaining it in a way that made no sense. She tilted her head, smiling, and I wanted to sink into the chair and disappear. Instead, I laughed at myself, acknowledging my own ridiculousness. I really can't do this right, I admitted. And she laughed again, reaching out to lightly touch my hand in a gesture that was both comforting and terrifying. I attempted to compliment her. My mind raced, trying to find something genuine, yet not overly intense. You have, a really nice smile, I said, realizing immediately how awkward it sounded. She laughed, shaking her head slightly. Thanks, that's sweet, she replied. Relief washed over me. Not only had I survived complimenting her, but she had taken it in stride, like she understood my awkwardness and even found it endearing. The final challenge approached, saying goodbye. We walked out of the cafe together, and I was suddenly struck with the realization that I had no idea how to end this date without sounding awkward. Should I suggest another? Should I just say goodbye? My brain short-circuited. I opted for honesty. I had a really good time, despite me being me, I said, waving my hands vaguely. She smiled brightly. I had fun, too. Don't worry, you're fine, she reassured me. That simple line made my chest feel lighter than it had all day. We lingered at the door, neither of us wanting to leave just yet. I wanted to ask her out again, but the words caught in my throat. Finally, I blurted out, "So, maybe we can do this again sometime." She nodded eagerly. Like that. I grinned, realizing that despite every awkward moment, every stumble, every blunder, this had turned out better than I had dared hope. Walking away, I replayed the date in my mind. The spilled coffee, the jumbled stories, the moments where I had felt like I was about to melt into the floor, they all seemed less like disasters and more like the building blocks of a memory I would cherish. This was my first date like this, My first real experience navigating this chaotic, thrilling, awkward world of connecting with someone else. And somehow, I had survived it, even enjoyed it. By the time I reached home, I was exhausted, but exhilarated. My friends would laugh if I told them about every detail. The way I had tripped over my own words, forgotten my phone etiquette, and stumbled through conversation. Yet I didn't care. For the first time, I had experienced something real, messy, and unexpectedly wonderful. And that, I realized, was worth more than any perfect line, any rehearsed plan, any flawless first impression. I collapsed onto my bed, phone in hand, already drafting a message to thank her for the date. I typed, deleted, and retyped until the words felt right. Thanks for today. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see you again. I hit send, and the notification bubble taunted me with the anticipation of a reply. Then I leaned back, closed my eyes, and let a slow smile spread across my face. This wasn't just a first date. It was a reminder that awkwardness can be charming, nerves can be endearing, and the unpredictability of real life can be more exciting than any perfectly executed plan. Maybe next time I would do better. Maybe next time I wouldn't spill coffee or forget my lines. But for now, this messy, imperfect, chaotic, human experience was enough. And somehow, it was exactly perfect. I couldn't help but think that firsts, like this first kisses, first conversations that really mattered, first experiences that felt like stepping into unknown territory were less about doing everything right and more about showing up, trying, and laughing at yourself along the way. I knew that as long as I kept being present, kept being honest, kept letting the awkwardness unfold naturally, more of these moments would follow. And maybe, just maybe, the next time wouldn't be as nerve-wracking. I glanced at my phone again. A reply. I had a great time too. Let's plan something soon. My chest warmed with a strange mix of relief, pride, and excitement. I grinned to myself, thinking how weirdly beautiful life could be when you let yourself be awkward, honest, and real. And as I drifted off to sleep that night, my mind replayed every small gesture, every laugh, every awkward pause. My first date wasn't perfect, but maybe that was the point. So, if you've ever been terrified of messing up, tripping over your words, or spilling metaphorical coffee all over a situation, just remember, it's not the mistakes that matter. It's the courage to show up. The laughter that follows, and the connections that can bloom from the chaos. And hey, if you survived a first date like mine, you can survive just about anything. Don't forget to comment below with your most awkward first date story. Hit like if you've ever felt this nervous, and subscribe to see more stories like this. You never know what kind of chaos is coming next.